Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Pari, and to be able to participate in this event. What I thought I'd do is cover three things. I wanted to talk about some big trends and what the impact on R&D and product engineering is. I'd like to talk about what we've learned from those and the fundamentals. And then, because the topic is called Edge of Tomorrow, I'd like to stand on the edge and look out and see what the future might hold. But I thought what I would do to start off with is tell a story about 8 years ago. Because in listening to today and listening to discussions about disruption, I was reminded of coming to Bangalore 8 years ago and thinking about what's happened in 8 years. We had an event here 8 years ago. I worked for another company, a technology company called IBM. And we came to Bangalore and we rented the palace grounds. And we wanted to make a statement about how important India was to the IBM company. So we rented the palace grounds and we built a building. And we had all the 10,000 employees from Bangalore come together. And we hooked up satellites, and there were a total of 40,000 people in the country, and we tied all the people in. And we had the president of India at the time, APJ Abdul Kalam, come. We had an MC who was Dia Mirza, for those from Bollywood. Yeah, Dia was there. We had to have an MC. So, and then we had our CEO of the company at the time, Sam Palmisano. And he came and he announced that we were going to invest $6 billion over the next 3 years in India. And I remember standing on the stage in front of 10,000 people, and it was one of the most electric, exciting, inspiring times you could imagine. Because it was 2006, and this was the golden era. It was the absolute golden era of technology, of India, of emerging markets. Everything was going right. If you think back to that time, everything was going right. Things were growing, technology was exploding, people were hiring, all the economies of the world were going in the same direction, and that was up. And I was thinking about that because in those 8 years from then till now, we've gone through a financial crisis. Economies around the world have all of a sudden shifted, and they're not on the same trajectory anymore. Technology industries change every time there's an economic recession. That's been proven over time. So the technology has shifted in major ways, and we're entering a completely different period of time. And things have been moved into a transformative period that I think is as great as we've seen, at least in many of our lifetimes. And that's this disruption that I was just listening to in the last panel. Now, by way of introduction, Howard Hughes. For those of you that may know, he was a famous inventor, business person. He had a company use aircraft, also use electronics. It is only the future in which I am really vitally interested. He dealt with disruption, and he dealt with things by always pushing to the future. He was incredibly inventive. He was always coming up with new ways of doing things in aerospace, in electronics. He put up the first satellites, and it was always about the future and always finding inventive new ways of doing things. That was the basis of him and the companies that he formed. But what's happening today? What are the big trends? I mentioned the one thing I wanted to talk about first are the trends. These are the things that I know you've been talking about today. On the left side are the trends. The right side are some of the impacts. And I think what's significant is not just the disruptors, it's that they're accelerating and they're happening together. Everything is digitizing. It's been called digitization. Now it's being called softwareization. Everything's going to software. Everything goes to software, then everything moves to the cloud, and cloud services become a reality. Sensors are going everywhere. So everything goes to software, and at the same time, sensors are going everywhere. So you have this parallel set of activities taking place. Sensors are nothing but radios etched in silicon. And they're now less than $1 a piece. And they're going everywhere. Projected to be 28 billion devices connected to the internet by 2020. That's the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything. So that's accelerating. The data explosion, well, when you have everything going to software, when you have sensors everywhere, you do have this data explosion, and you have this massive amount of data that can be used, can be analyzed, and you can do it in real time. And then connectivity. Everything connects, but everything can connect in an extreme way. Seamlessly connect. Connect on the land, on the sea, in the air. Connect any time of day or night, and connect in every way possible. That's everything, everywhere mobility. And then the globalization. The globalization that's taking place is now at a different stage than it was 8 years ago. It's globalization of ideas, of companies, and of this disruption that is causing a convergence and also a disruption on industries and on companies. No longer do we see industries that are like this, structured by country and being able to look at themselves in a very definitive way. Industry barriers and borders are breaking down, and they're going cross countries now with the impact of what I'd call the new globalization. But all of these things, these trends are happening at the same time, and they're accelerating. It is a tremendously disruptive period of time. It's a tremendously exciting period of time. Now, what does it mean to R&D? What does it mean to product engineering? What do we hear from clients? This should not come as any surprise. Many of you are saying this. Many of you are hearing this. These are some of the types of comments that we hear in our business. Products that used to take 4 or 5 years are now 18 months. Products that used to be 12 months are now 3 or 4 months. Everyone needs an agile environment. Decisions are about bursting capability. People are increasing the percentage that are using and running on the agile model. Partners are being looked for co-creation, and people are looking at partners that they can trust. These are things we're hearing. These are actual quotes. If you put it together, people are looking for speed. They're looking for skills, the talent, and they're looking for solutions. Solutions that could be business models, could be co-creation, could be new ideas, but different types of solutions. So if you step back from this, from all the trends and from the things that we're hearing, what do you learn? What do we learn? Well, there's 3 fundamentals here. 3 simple ideas that we take away from it. The first one, fundamental, Very simple. The only constant to all of this is change. It's the only constant. And as John Chambers said, in 10 years' time, some will not exist. Change, change, change. So you go back to, what did we hear? Well, if the constant is change, it is about speed. People have to be moving fast in the right direction, but it is about speed, because the change is constant and it is accelerating. It's something that we learn. The second thing that we learn, and you heard this in the last panel clearly, software is eating the world. Software is the heart and soul. It's all about software. And here, what you really take away is it's about skills. Because if it's all about software, you have to have the skills that can deal with software. You have to have relevant skills, you have to have current skills, and you have to develop skills. The hiring of people, the training of people, the development of people, the currency of people, there's nothing more important. This is where India excels today and where India can excel in the future. It's all about software, it's all about skills. And the third thing you learn is you must innovate to create value. And here, I included a quote from Sunil Mittal. He has always innovated. He did it when he started his company. He did it in 1995 when he got into the telecommunication field. He's done it with business models. He's done it with partners. He's done it with pricing. He's done it with marketing. The innovation and the ideas have been unique, different, and always coming up with ways that others had not thought about. But innovating to create value is about solutions. It's about solutions to puzzles. It's about thinking differently to the challenges. And it is often about business models. But there's a lot of different ways to innovate, to be creative, and to find ways to do things that can differentiate, add value, and create something that hasn't been done before. So those are the three things to learn, the three major fundamentals to take away. Simple, but I think relevant. Now, what about tomorrow? What is that right on the edge as we look over? Well, tomorrow, everything is intelligent. Intelligence is everywhere. Everything that we're going to see and touch is going to be intelligent, because we will have this proliferation of ubiquitous computing with sensors and intelligence that goes everywhere, and the massive amounts of data that go with it. Everything is interconnected. Everything is interconnected in a seamless manner. This idea that you have to get on a plane and sign on to something will be gone, because everything will be seamlessly connected. Every place you go and everything you do will be connected to the network, and intelligent devices will all be connected. And lastly, everything will become invisible. Now, intelligent and interconnected, I think most people would say, well, yeah, we understand that, but what's invisible? Invisible is moving beyond the way we think about the experience of computing to where it's a natural part of us and the way we interact with the world and the environment. There was a videotape of Steve Jobs from 20 years ago where he was asked about user interfaces. You can Google it. The lost interview of Steve Jobs. And he was asked about the interface to computers, the user interface. And he said, I don't understand the question. You buy a computer to use it. You don't buy a computer to learn how to use it. You buy it to use it. That's the way he thought. And many people in the past 20 years have felt user interface is about how do you make things easy to use. And it's important. We have a design group, and they do that. They make things easy to use. And when you design products, it's very important today to do that. This is putting up an idea, though, that in the future, we're going to go beyond that. It's not that it's easy to use, it's that it is us, it's there. I have a house in Silicon Valley. I have the Nest thermostat. I've been away for a few days. When there's nobody there, there's no movement. So the air conditioner turns off. When I walk in the door, it recognizes that I'm there, and the air conditioner turns back on. It's invisible. It is just part of the environment. It understands, and it predicts, and it takes care of what needs to be done. That's taking the user interface to invisible. It's a different way of thinking about it. But this will become very important. So intelligent, interconnected, and then invisible. It's going to impact and drive transformations in lots of areas. People talk about smart cities. A smart city is not about smart energy or smart water or smart trash or smart transportation. It's the way it all interconnects, the way it does things in an invisible way. Connected health is about the way you as an individual connect to the monitoring of the health system, the doctors, and your records. And it will be done invisibly. These things up here are all different ways that will be very transformative in the future. And this is very exciting because when all of these things happen, you will improve productivity, you will improve lives, you will improve society. It will be a better world because of this. And this is all right around the corner. This is the edge that we're sitting at. To get there, though, we're going to go through a very disruptive period of time. That's what we're going through now. That's the transformative period. But I think this is one of the most exciting periods of time. I hope you do too. I hope that we as a community of people that work in the R&D engineering world can help get us to the area of the world that makes life a lot better. So thank you very much for having me here.